All right, one more time around the ring here on Crypto Comics. It is our last day to talk about Malibu Comics and the Ultraverse. I picked up this double feature comic book. It's 64 pages, 2 complete stories. On this side is Prime. On the flip side is my boy Solitaire. The Prime story, I like the art, but it's just Prime fighting gorillas. And I think we've seen enough gorillas in comic books. I think your boy Zach would probably agree with that. So Breed. Now, Jim Starlin's Breed I have not read, but I'm kind of interested. This is Bravura, another Malibu Comics imprint. I don't know enough about this to even talk about it at the moment. This is taking me, he's back, but it's taken me back to the 1990s. I'm just like, how did I miss this? Like, this is different. You know, way better than Barry Windsor Smith and this stupid Rune. I'll tell you that. Jim Starlin's cool. So yeah, monkeys, Dr. Monkeys, lots of monkeys. Who cares, right? Let's get to Solitaire. This story was friggin' dope. I'm going to read the whole thing right now. Before I do, I should tell you who it's by. I think it's by the Normal Team. Gerard Jones and Julie Huffman are the writers. To let you know, after the Solitaire maxi series, the 12-issue series ended, they were going to go to a mini-series format, and Julie Huffman was one of the people who was going to write one of those series, but this never materialized. So this is pretty much the last taste of Solitaire we get from Malibu Comics. And unfortunately, this character has not managed to get a new series at Marvel, who are now the owners of Malibu. But anyways, this is penciled by Mark Maraglia, or Maraglia. I'm not really sure how it's said. Inks by Dan Schafer. So I'm just going to do this whole thing. Oh, Lord of Illusions. That was a good one. And just so you know, yeah, this comic is like damaged pretty bad. But I don't care because I just wanted to read it. So I bought it from mycomicshop.com because it was cheap. And yeah, okay, so it's damaged a little bit. Big deal. Lord of Illusions. I can't remember if this was good. This is the one that starred Scott Bakula, right? Yeah, Scott Bakula. Quantum Leap. Now, I guarantee that with Scott Bakula is good. So anyways, Washington, D.C. When things get ugly in the world, we find a place in the mind for our souls to retreat. A place of golden walkways, poppy fields, and innocence. Melt like lemon drops. Topeka, Kansas. Let me see. Tab Hunter's shoes from Damn Yankees. Judy Garland's slippers are missing. Carol Lombard's shoes from 20th Century. But if things get ugly, often enough, a person can forget how to get back inside. A person can lose the dream. Hollywood, California, property of Looneyville. Ruby slippers are gone here too, so the ruby slippers are being stolen. And some people would kill to get back. So melt like lemon drops once in a lullaby. Where you'll find me. And go here. This guy's just listening to the song. What? Looks like Leonard Nimoy right here. Please. Let's see, there's this sword right here. You might not notice that. That's a sword. Please, take anything. Take it all. Just don't hurt me. Please. Wait a moment. Aren't you? I know you. Of course you do, darling. I am a star. All right, Mr. DeMille. I'm ready for my close-up. Such pretty, pretty toys you keep, Victor. Remember how it was in Come Back, sweet baby doll? Happy little bluebirds fly. Oh, it does take me back. Well, she does. She stabs him here, by the way. Kills him. There's the blood dripping from the sword. Oh, Zorro in the back. Oh, it does take me back. Such pretty toys for pretty memories. Ah, there you are, my beautiful magical slippers, glittering with radiant life. And now, only one more pair remains. So this woman, who looks very familiar to a certain Hollywood star of the past, I'd just tell you to maybe watch Sunset Boulevard. She's still in the ruby slippers. From everywhere. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. police show up. 2 units responding to apparent break-in at 532 Heston Way. Alarm trip, 2300 hours. Police, open up! Hands in the air, now! No, hey, gotta get out of here! And this dude just like running. Oh man, oh man, oh man, I didn't do anything! Solitaire jumps through the window. Talk to me. And this may be one of your better days. And his costume has changed. He's now gray and blue instead of purple and blue, which I don't care for. But, you know, what can I do about it now? What do you say? Okay, anything. Oh, so talk, I'm listening. He takes the guy, jumps out the window. The cops shoot. Don't know why. I deal in Hollywood memorabilia. Vic, the corpse, was one of my clients. I go to his place to collect on an old debt. When I walk in, I see him getting stabbed by his own Marca Zorro collectible. A $1,500 value, I might add. He's got millions worth in goods. There's plenty of tough dealers who'd love to clean him out. But this dame only steals a pair of ruby slippers. And get who she is. That old silent movie star. You know, the one who was in Queen Bathsheba. Why do you care anyway? What's it to you? The last great screen actress of the silent screen, Vivian Beaumont. There are no words to answer that, only a stirring of memory that he pushes away. Moments later, his computer gives him an address. Vivian Beaumont, that's her name. She must be about 100 years old by now. I've been trying to do business with her for years, but she won't even talk to me. Why would anyone kill for a pair of shoes? Man, that looks like Alec Baldwin. In The Shadow? You gotta be kidding me. This stuff is big time. I just worked on a deal that got 150 grand for Chaplin's hat, cane, and shoes. And the ruby slippers? Man, any of the 5 existing pairs could get you about the same. It's business, pure and simple. No, it's more than that. And that Beaumont broad, the junk she's hanging on to, could buy 10 mansions like that. She thinks the market's beneath her. Guess she forgot what this town is all about. Money. With just a piece of that money, I could get some loan sharks off my back forever. Sorry, pal. I appreciate your help back there, but Vic's death put me in an awkward position. He blam, 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 and shoots Solitaire. It's hard to know who to trust in this town. It's not like it is in the movies. Maybe the Scream Queen will find time to talk to me now. Well, what have we here? A young fan seeking my autograph? Fan? You haven't had a fan in 50 years. I'm here on business. He can almost hear the whirring and clicking of the microscopic entities, tiny machines that leap from the tatters of his suit, scuttle through his veins, mending the fibers of his broken body. The miracle will work, though not as it always did, and it won't spare him the pain. So yes, as it says right here, check out Solitaire number 1 through 12 for all the details. That is going to be vital before you read this. You're going to need to know who Solitaire is. You're going to at least need to check out that first issue. Yeah, that's for sure. Too bad you weren't off polishing your sword. Now we're both in an awkward position. Bodyguard off tonight? Darling, the first rule of business is to be polite. The second rule is to know your competition. And here we have this really, really crappy drawing, painting, I don't know what to call this, of Thor. And the face is so familiar to me, but I just cannot place it. Man, what a thick neck. It's just terrible. This is not going to get anybody to buy Thor. And she kicks the gun out of his hand. He's getting basically his ass kicked by a 90-year-old woman. That's awkward. And Solitaire's back. He's back up already. Lights, camera, action. Blam! Ha ha ha! And she shoots him. The fading memory of too sweet perfume, the stale scent of a recent death, and the images of movies past rouse what he's been pushing down. Don't ever talk to me about how to do my business. You're nothing, you understand? There were times when his father would fill with such rage that he would forget all about Nicholas. And Nicholas took every advantage of that. He hated leaving his mother like that, alone with him, but he had to get away from anything that smelled of Anton Lone. That's his father. Signs and people flashed by like cop car lights as he raced to outrun the fire in his gut. Never stop at an arcade or shoot-'em-up movie house. Those are the first places Jin and his dad's other hired men would look. Even the boredom of an old black and white movie was better than going home, and Jin would never think to look there. So this is the Dreamland Theater. It turns out that this is also where Solitaire basically sets up his base of operations after he's decided to become a vigilante. But instead of falling asleep, the movie caught him. The man was good to the people he was responsible for. The woman was funny and smart and stood up for herself. They were black and white. They were luminous. They were clear. Not like it was at home. They enabled him to fool himself. Mom, why is Dad so mean to you? Why can't he laugh at your jokes and like you? And, oh, Nick, you worry about too many grown-up things. His mother liked the fact that he had a place to escape. She helped him get away sometimes. Jin, there's something I want to show you. But she never went with him. And one day, he wished to God she had. Nicholas wasn't told what happened to her. Your mother is gone. Forget her. But he did find out what it was like to be alone, and his father's big, expensive mansion became his jail cell. It's time you straightened up, boy. It's time you learned the business. They had lied to him. This wasn't like it was in the movies. Later, he had plenty of time to remember his youth. He drove his car off of a cliff and should have died, except that his father's nanotech experts gave him back a life he didn't want. And between moments of paralyzed fury, his mind wandered back to the one place that made him want to keep going. As soon as he could move again, he went there, as it turned out, just in time. Wait a minute, who's in charge here? Being a rich man's son is not without its privileges. No one is going to touch this theater. He was home, the only home he'd ever had. And in that home, Solitaire was born. Birth of a Nation in the background. There's Buster Keaton right there, making a funny. And this would never fly in a comic book nowadays. You would never be allowed to put this poster in the background. He knows a little of what Vivian Beaumont must feel. The memories brought to light by old costumes and posters can mask the ugliness of everyday life. He understands how bad things can get, and he knows how desperate people can become, especially to obtain the faraway wishes promised in a pair of ruby slippers. So she's got them all. She's stolen them all. She has one left. And we have the Lollipop Man. Inherits famous slippers from Judy Garland. And we cut to an old folks' home. Oh, Laurel and Hardy in the background there. So I says, let's you and me blow this popsicle stand and hit the town. And she laughs, right, and says, oh, Lolly, I can't go nowhere in these thorny shoes. So I says to her, listen, gal, you wear my shoes then, and I'll wear yours. Well, she laughed and laughed, but sure enough, I wore those shoes around wherever we went. I tell you, it touched my old heart when she passed these on down to me, fellas. She was one of the great ones. So he got the ruby slippers, the last pair. I'll take those pretties, little man. Bug, I need you to check out a Vivian Beaumont for me. Right away. Just her recent life. I need all information in 2 minutes. Yes, sir. This is his Oracle, his Alpha. This is his microchip, if you like Punisher. This is Bug. He just, does whatever Solitaire wants as far as computer technology goes. He's got a stutter. He's in a wheelchair. Now, are you going to give them to me, or shall I cut off your feet? Sister, if you handle a knife as well as you deliver your lines, you're going to have a tough time getting these babies. Well, see you later, Hank. And all these other old people just dip out. Nobody thinks to grab the 90-year-old woman with the knife before she kills the midget in high heels? Okay. My politics. Oh, no, excuse me. My medical records indicate chronic emphysema. Married twice, but divorced now. Wait, here's something a little weird. Had a curator for her private collection. He lived with her for you stuttering bastard for 6 years, and then disappeared. You couldn't find one other guy who works in computer technology, like an IT guy who isn't like a stuttering cripple? Are you kidding me, Solitaire? You have all the money in the world, and you had to hire this guy, man? That's a sympathy hire right there. That's a sympathy hire. This should cut you down to size. Solitaire grabs her hand and she drops the knife. And what's this? An escort to lead me to my dressing room? I believe I know the way, young man. And she elbows him in the gut. Oof! It's the door with the great big star. She's deceptively strong. He can't afford to hold back. So he punches an old woman. Boom. Uh-oh. So you know we're coming to the end of Malibu Comics. Because now Marvel's here and they're going to take it over. One of these Marvel villains will forever change the Ultraverse. Maybe they should have a picture of Joe Quesada on there. Because, yeah, nobody's seen anything from Malibu Comics and the Ultraverse for 20 years. Oh, Silver Surfer. You're going to live to regret that, young man. She picks up this other midget. Just happens to be a lot of midgets living in this place. Oh, tiny, loathsome stagehand. Don't you know who I am? Do you think I'm going to allow any common extra to steal my scenes? She throws the midget at Solitaire, and then she goes after the other midget. There's still time left. Once I sever your wretched little body from those magical slippers. Hey, he's still wearing those shoes. And this is the other midget. Oh, they call this a retirement home. It's a loony bin if you ask me. And I don't know why this just happens to be laying on the ground right there. No sign of her. Blood. Thank you, narrator. Darling, it's marvelous to see you. What? Oh, it's simply grueling. Cecil has me doing scenes from dawn to dusk. Darling, did I ever tell you about a young man I once knew? A very innocent and lovely boy. He was from a place far, far away. A place of small-minded busybodies who tormented and ridiculed him just because he was different. The only life worth living for him was the one promised in the movies. So he came to Hollywood to find his dreams. He found jobs easily in those days, little pay for a lot of work. But young Martin didn't mind one bit. The rustle of exotic costumes, the fragrance of wooden backdrops, they were intoxicating. They gave him life. But the great era of old Hollywood was cut short. The studios raised their backlots, sold off their precious memories for quick cash. The money grubbers bought the magic. And whatever memories wouldn't sell were incinerated. Poor sweet Martin had no place in a world like that. He wanted no place. So he leaves Paramount Pictures. Then he found one place, one precious place, where the magic was preserved. Mr. Martin Jones to see you, ma'am. He's come about the position. He met Vivian Beaumont, and his prayers were answered. Here was a goddess of the golden age, one who truly valued a remarkable collection of Hollywood treasures. Martin soon became a living curator, assistant, and confidant, but even she was corruptible. Vivian, you really must allow me to attend the auction this week. Your collection hasn't grown for months. Why, not to have a pair of ruby slippers. Oh, Martin, this place is so huge, dear, and I'm getting older, you know. It's time I moved forward in my life, shed some of the old memories. And so she told him to get out, so she could move into a Westwood condominium. Vivian Beaumont, in a condominium? You will never give up your things. I won't allow it. Did you hear me? I was simply mad about the boy, and one day he vanished. Surely you remember that day, don't you? Vivian chops off the head on the mannequin. And then Solitaire gives a kick to the gut to the old woman, and the old woman's wig flies off. What? It's a man? Wow, serious transgender issues going on here. Please take me away from here. Just click 3 times. Listen, you're sick. You need help. Thank you, sir. I've always depended upon the gullibility of strangers. Ugh. Arg. Splotch. Oh, and he falls back onto Errol Flynn with this sword, which is so awesome. If happy little birds fly, why can't I? Solitaire understands dreams. He understands obsession. Often the dreams, the obsession, are the only things that give him life. But he can never rest easy because he knows that obsession is a two-edged sword. So the transgender guy, who I don't know if he was a cross-dresser or actually really transgendered, obviously had some mental health issues, but we wouldn't be able to say that today. So I guess we just have to accept that Solitaire was bad and just killed a person accidentally who was just trying to transition their life from being, a middle-aged man to being an old woman that he murdered earlier, and now he's her. But anyways, if you're from the 20th century, this comic book was awesome and really crazy and shocked you. It shocked me. I did not see that coming, especially not from a comic book that was meant for kids. I think it was meant for kids. It was written by Gerard Jones. That's all I can say. Look it up. He's a good writer, but a very disturbed man with a lot of very unusual thoughts in his head. And but man, this story, this is really a story for people who grew up in the 20th century, who grew up on The Wizard of Oz. I am a huge fan of The Wizard of Oz. When people ask me what my favorite film is, I say The Wizard of Oz, because it is the most watched film in the history of humankind. There's been no other film translated into more languages or appreciated by more generations of humans than The Wizard of Oz. And so that's what really blew my mind. And then it was just such a throwback to old Hollywood, to the golden age of Hollywood. And this Betty Davis character, holy cannoli, that was really, really wild to see. And then for it to end up being a man going crazy, or transitioning, your choice, I'm going to say going crazy, was so shocking. I did not see that coming at all, and I loved it. This is a great book, and I'm happy to have shared it with all of you as we end our journey into Malibu Comics and the Ultraverse. We might come back. I might end up picking up a few more Malibu Comics. There's a lot of them out there. Freaks, Hard Case, Prime. The list is going to go on and on and on and on. And we've really just touched the tip of an iceberg here with Malibu Comics. So if you like stuff that's a little off the beaten path, this might be for you. But no matter what, I appreciate you watching. And keep watching, because we're just getting started here on Crypto Comics.